In today's video, you'll hear part one of my interview with financial advisor Tracy Lounsbury, where we'll be discussing the growing contagion of dishonest life insurance agents on TikTok and how to solve the problem once and for all.
I think that when we get exposed to everything that we see on TikTok, it's just a big turnoff because everybody, it's clear that they make the majority of their money selling IUL. And so most of them are not securities licensed, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And so in order to sell your IUL, you have to exalt the IUL and you have to debase everything else, including some investments that I really, really like Roth 401ks, Roth IRAs, Roth conversions. And I just don't think that's right. I don't think it's right to make the IUL out to be a silver bullet or a panacea. It does some very specific things that no other tax-free vehicles can do, but at the same time, it works best in concert with all of those other tax-free vehicles. As you know, I believe in having between 4 and 6 different streams of tax-free income. I think if all you ever talk about is life insurance, you look like a life insurance agent, and nobody wants to hand their life savings over to a life insurance agent. I know I wouldn't want to hand my, if somebody came up to me and said, Dave, you can either put all your money in an IUL or you can spread your money among a Roth IRA, Roth 401k, Roth conversion, take money out of your IRA up to your standard deduction. If you keep your provisional income low enough, then your Social Security will be tax-free. And we're gonna throw the IUL in there because it does some specific things that nothing else can do. It can give you a death benefit that doubles as long-term care. It can be used as a volatility shield where you can pay for your lifestyle expenses in the year following a down year in the stock market. So you give your money a chance to recover before taking further distributions. It can function as with an annuity as a viable bond alternative. So I just think that it makes more sense to approach the IUL and any life insurance policy for that matter in a balanced, comprehensive way. And I think that we do a disservice not only to the industry, but to our clients and prospects when we make the IUL out to be something that it really isn't. And frankly, the problem with TikTok and all these other social media platforms is it's like the wild, wild west. They don't have the same compliance overview that the rest of us do. And so the types of things, Tracy, that I've seen people get away with saying on TikTok would curl your hair. I mean, it's just, I know, absolutely, what's the right word? It's borderline criminal, I guess is what I would say. I mean, I see people guaranteeing tax-free income out of an IUL. You're guaranteed to get this amount of income from 65 to age 100, and it's just we're making promises that we can't deliver, and we're making the IUL out to be this glorified what do you call it? The type of knife, Swiss Army knife. Sorry, the word eluded me. A Swiss Army knife of financial products. For example, I just saw a TikTok video that by Curtis Ray, and I'm going to be doing a video on that soon, where Curtis Ray says, "Why in the world would you want to have money in a emergency fund? If you have $40,000 in an emergency fund, it's only growing at 1%, and if you keep it in there for 30 years." It's only going to be worth $41,200 by the time you tap into that 30 years later. And then if you were to conversely put that into an IUL earning 10%, you're going to have $750,000, and then that's going to crank out an income of $2.5 million. Well, first of all, an emergency fund is designed to be tapped into. We don't have the luxury of saying, let's do a comparison where we could grow it at 10%, because how many emergencies are you going to have between now and when you're 65? You'll probably have one a year. And so we can't say that the emergency fund should go into the IUL because the whole thing with the IUL is it only really works if you allow it to marinate and build a head of steam. If you're constantly tapping into it to plug the hole in your roof or to pay for a health crisis or whatever, then that money's not going to be growing and compounding, and that's the issue. And so this is the type of advice that we see on TikTok and elsewhere that I think does a disservice to all of the other financial advisors who are doing it the right way.
Absolutely. That's actually an awesome segue to the comparison side because you see it all the time, right? You want to these I don't even want to call them advisors, these salespeople, they are comparing an IUL to equities. They're comparing an IUL, like I said, like you said here, to savings accounts. And really, you said it earlier, an IUL, when structured properly, and it's actually the same thing with an annuity, when structured properly and given the right amount of time, is more of a bond alternative, right? So when you see these types of comparisons where they're looking at it as an equities replacement or a 401k replacement, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, well, like I've said in countless videos on my channel,
Right.
I don't like it very much at all. I think that one of the issues that we've had, and there was a one particular advisor who was showing how you could average 15.3%, how a particular product could average 15.3% over the last 20 years or something.
Oh,
And
Lord.
and really what he was doing, it was a sort of a reverse engineered index where basically these companies are saying, had you had your money in this specific allocation of indices and had the cap been X over the last 20 years, and this is what you could have expected to receive over that time frame. And of course, anybody can put together a portfolio that looks great in retrospect. The challenge is to build a portfolio that's going to do great moving forward in time. And so I called that guy out, and strangely enough, I haven't seen him put out any more videos like that. So I mean, that means I'm reaching some people. So, but the bottom line is, it's not going to give you 15%. It's not even going to
No.
give you 10%. I know there's
Right.
some, Doug Andrew and some others are talking about that. What we're looking for over the life of the program, and when we say life of the program, Tracy, we're saying 30 to 50 years. Don't start the IUL unless you plan on finishing it. Don't
Yep.
do an IUL unless you're planning on keeping it till the rest of your life, till the end of your life, because it doesn't make sense to do it unless it's in force when you die. It's like getting married. You got to keep it till death do you part, or you're better off never having done it to begin with. And so we're looking at a 30 to 50 year time frame. And I think that if we're looking at a 30 to 50 year time frame, we're letting it cook, we're letting it marinate, we're letting it build a head of steam so that the expenses reduce as they're designed to do over time, and your internal rate of return will slowly go up over that time frame. And so I think what you can expect is between 5 to 7% net of fees over that time frame, which is, if you're thinking about bonds without taking any more risk than what you're accustomed, or any more market risk than what you're accustomed to taking in your savings account, that's a great rate of return for a portion of your portfolio. But it's
Right.
not, shouldn't be your entire portfolio. I still
Absolutely.
think you should have money in the stock market. I think that if you have money in an IUL and or an annuity, it allows you to take more risk in the stock market because that's your bond portion of your portfolio. You can then eliminate the bonds in the market portion of your portfolio. And you have a volatility buffer in the event that the market goes down. You draw on those annuities or life insurance until the market recovers, and then you can continue drawing money out of that. So, yeah, I think we would all do well to understand the limitations of the IUL and convey to our clients. There's nothing wrong with conveying to our clients that 5 to 7% is what they can expect. I think where we get into the problem of saying 10 to 12% is when we say, okay, we're not securities licensed, therefore we have to present something that's just as productive as
Right.
the stock market portfolio. And then we start to exaggerate the benefits
Right.
and the potential returns of these types of products. And that's where we get in trouble, and we create expectations that can't be met.
Absolutely. So I think it's interesting. I don't think that everybody's just inherently bad, right? I don't think a lot of these IUL or annuity agents or advisors are saying a lot of these numbers because they just want to lie. I think there's something in our industry that is a problem, and you and I could agree on it, which is all these back tested indices, right? We have hypothetical back tests that go back 10, however many years, where the index only went live 6 months ago. Okay. I just saw one hit my email. Index just went live with a carrier August 1st, but it back tests, 10+%. And then you go inside of these products, you add these enhanced participation rates on there. You add these, high caps, whatever. And when an advisor or agent is sitting down and they're trying to learn these things, and they have somebody, let's call it an upline, let's call it an IMO, let's call it a carrier marketing rep, I think all of those, or other social media influencer, I'm going to call it, telling them these types of numbers, they're starting to believe it. And who are they to not believe it when on paper it shows these numbers, like in illustrations? They don't know what they don't know. And that's why education is unbelievably important. I just had a guy in my group that he showed me some IUL illustrations that were 10+%. And I was like, he was talking to me about it, and we're going through comment. And I'm like, what is this guy talking about? He's talking about history. And then he shows, well, here's what I got from X carrier. And I think you and I know there's one carrier out there that I know of that actually has and publishes historical returns on IULs. I think there's really only one. Maybe there's more. You can correct me on that. I know of one. Okay. And it was a back test. It was a carrier illustration, and I had to explain that to them. And this is somebody who's been doing this for years, right? So here's my question for you. With that being said, how do we fix that?
Yeah, I think we fix it sort of one advisor at a time. One of my goals has been to combat that type of misinformation through my channel. I like to call out malfeasance wherever I see it. I mean, I like to defend the IUL when people make irresponsible statements about it. The video I put out today is why the IUL's fees are its strength. And the thing that I can't understand is why Dave Ramsey and Suze Yorman, Clark Howard and Jeremy Schneider and Ramit Sethi and all these quote unquote financial gurus talk about how the single greatest issue or foible of the IUL are its high fees. Well, if you keep it long enough, if you keep it for your entire life, the fees actually become its strength. It's actually the thing that makes it so competitive with the 401ks and the other traditional products. So I think we have to just tell the truth. We have to call out the criticisms when the criticisms are unfounded, but we have to be fair and balanced. We have to also call out the financial advisors who are telling tall tales when it comes to these types of products. And so I think if everybody will just focus on telling the truth and putting the truth ahead of their commission or however it is they make money, I think that ultimately, and I know that I'm on the right track because I know there's people on, my good friend Dandy Panko on LinkedIn who is on a crusade to call out these IUL agents who have scammy marketing approaches. I think he appreciates the approach that I'm taking, because I'm not saying the IUL isn't a viable, financial instrument. It is when utilized in the right way, but it also has its limitations. And I think that when we call out the limitations, instead of talking about it as a one size fits all, Swiss Army knife, panacea, silver bullet, whatever you want to call it, I think people respect that and they understand. They temper their expectations as to what they can expect from that specific part of their portfolio.
Yeah. Do you think we need more regulation with it? I mean, we obviously have regulation coming down the pipeline. It seems like that's changing all the time, for better, for worse, whatever you want to say. Do you think we need more, or do you just think we need a change of direction when it comes to regulation?
Gosh, man, when you see the types of things that I see on TikTok and Instagram every day, I mean, some of that stuff should be outlawed. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, I'm not saying that necessarily insurance agents should be subject to the same types of scrutiny that, people that are selling variable products could, because there's just different dynamics and different, different aspects of those respective parts of the financial plan, but there should be someone in authority who can come out and say, no, you're not allowed to say X, or you're not allowed to say Y, or conflating engineered retroactive returns versus actual historical track records. That's not something that you can do. Now, I think that with AG 49A and B, we're seeing much more realistic illustrations, which are right in that range of what I've been telling people all along they can expect from their IULs. So I think that's a step in the right direction. But as far as some of this other stuff that people are saying, I don't know. You got to rein that in somehow, and sometimes the only way to do that is the heavy hand of the law.
I agree. I'd like to have, whether it's the Department of Insurance and Financial Services, which should oversee that, obviously, I would love to see them have like a task force that they create where we can go and just anonymously submit clips that people have out there. Hey, I just saw this clip. Boom, here you go. Handle it, right? Wouldn't that be great to have a team of people that they're solely dedicated to doing that? I feel like that wouldn't be that hard, right? I mean, team of 5 people, you just watch videos all day long, right?
Yeah, and
Something like
be
that.
Entertaining. You would have a fun job. Watching those types of videos would be fun. And part of my challenge is there's a lot of these people out there who do these videos, who like the power of zero, who like what I preach. And so sometimes I have to call out people in my own audience who are maybe utilizing power of zero principles in sort of an adulterated way. They're using the power of zero as a heavy-handed way of getting what they want, or sort of misinterpreting what I'm saying in the power of zero. I mean, if you read closely in the power of zero, I haven't changed my tune in 10 years. It's always been, comprehensive, balanced approach to tax-free retirement. Have 4 to 6 different streams of tax-free income, none of which show up on the IRS's radar, but all of which contribute to you being in the 0% tax bracket, only one of which is life insurance. I say that in my flagship presentation that I give 100 times across the country. I've been doing this for 25 years, and it's impossible to get to the 0% tax bracket by utilizing just one stream of tax-free income. You can't get there by just contributing to a Roth IRA. You can't get there by just owning an LIRP. To get to the 0% tax bracket requires typically between 4 and 6 different streams of tax-free income. And I think the minute people understand that, and to give an example, a lot of people talk about, hey, tax rates are going up. I believe that tax rates are going up. They'll talk about all the reasons why tax rates are going up, and that's the reason why you should get an IUL. Well, that may be partially the reason you should get an IUL, but it's also one of the reasons why you should get a Roth IRA, Roth 401k, Roth conversion, and all the other things that we talked about.
Okay, folks, that was the end of part 1, my interview with financial advisor Tracy Lounsbury. If you want to learn more about how to adopt a balanced, comprehensive approach to tax-free retirement that shields you from the impact of higher taxes, head on over to davemcknight.com and click on the Connect with an Advisor button. I'm happy to refer you to an advisor in the Power of Zero network that has been trained, vetted, and qualified personally by me. If you're a financial professional and want to learn more about how to become a certified Power of Zero advisor, head over to powerzero.com and opt into my free 3-part video series. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them into the comment section below. I'll respond to every single one of them personally. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss a video. This is David McKnight. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.